welcome back to another delightful episode of Whining About Pest Control. I am Shelby Hartzer, and before we get started, go grab your glass, and while you're at it, hit that little subscribe button down below too. I'll give you a second. Ready? Good. Because today we are going to whine about Norway Rats, and in honor of our fuzzy little menaces, I'm drinking an emergence red blend because Norway Rats emerge out of their burrows. It's a stretch, I know. Delightful. For those of you who know me, I really do love talking about rodents. They are fascinating creatures when you consider their evolution, how they've adapted to live off what people give them. All the food, water, and shelter that they need, we're providing. We know that the Norway rat did originate somewhere in Asia and started to spread out from there in about the early 1500s. So literally hundreds of years to adapt to humans. And they did it so well. Let's get right to whining. We got to talk about control because there's so much to talk about. We won't be able to cover everything. Like any pest, we have to have the IPM basics. Identification, inspection, sanitation, exclusion, trapping, treating. Sounds simple, but for anyone who's ever dealt with a Norway rat inside a structure, it is often easier said than done. Take trapping and bait stations, for example. You have to put them in the right location. It has to be close enough to intercept those rats, or rat. That's a great idea, until you consider the pieces of equipment in the way, and the competing food sources they've already found, and people, other non-targets, and don't even get me started whining about the issue of people seeing a dead rat on a trap. So, you have to find that Goldilocks spot. It may not be perfect, but it's close enough. It may not be the most effective, but it's more effective than a trap that's completely not working. And while I'm whining about trap and station placement, move those damn traps around sometimes. So many times I hear, hey, Shell, we've had these traps out for 6 months, 12 months, and we still haven't caught any of the rats. Then move them to a different, hopefully better location. If the forklift driver keeps running over your trap and destroying it, put it in a different spot where the forklift driver can't get to it. Move them around. Anyone doing training on Norway rats will tell you first off that you have to take care of the sanitation issues. If you would just take care of the sanitation issues, all your problems would be solved. Angels would sing from heaven. Great, sounds simple. But ultimately, it is a lot more challenging. Because how do you get rid of all the food from a warehouse, a grocery store, a restaurant? Hell, I'm not going to remove all the food from my house. Now, before you get upset and start throwing things at the computer and yelling at your screen, I'm not saying sanitation isn't important. It is. However, just like station placement, it's that bit of a Goldilocks issue. Doing as much as you realistically can, and of course getting the customer to help. Focus on the biggest issues, the most egregious issues. The areas or items that the Norway rats are currently feeding on. And this can go a long way in stressing out those Norway rats, driving them to an easier food source, like, say, a bait station or a trap, baited with some yummy fruit jelly, my personal favorite, grape. You can also try and make the food harder to get to. Norway rats do burrow. They're most often found on the ground, so containing the food and moving it up to some elevated spots can help. Of course, Norway rats can still climb, but again, you're making it more difficult. You're stressing them out. They have to spend more energy. So they're more likely to go for something close to the ground in their pathway, like your trap or your bait station. So much we haven't talked about with Norway control, but I'm running out of time, so we're gonna move on. You know how you can find out about more episodes that we're going to post on Norway Rats? That's right. Rate, review, subscribe. And of course, you can always reach out to me, whine about your Norway rat problems. And additional information, as usual, is down below. And until next time, cheers to the delightful Norway rat.